This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday, the 4th day of September in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here is what we're tracking tonight. For the second straight day today, Guyana recorded 2 coronavirus-related deaths, pushing the total number of deaths to 46. The Health Ministry this afternoon revealed that the 2 latest fatalities are both women. One was an 84-year-old from Region 4, while the other, who hailed from Region 1, was 47 years old. With the 2 deaths recorded today, it takes the total number of deaths recorded in the past 4 weeks to 26. There were 20 deaths in the previous 4 months. During a press conference this afternoon, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony said the increase in deaths is worrying, but he also noted that many of those who have passed away had underlying conditions.
In terms of the deaths, yes, indeed, it's unfortunate that we've had an increase amounts of deaths, especially at the infectious disease ICU. Many of those patients who have died had comorbidity, that is, they had varying diseases, and in some cases the reason why they were hospitalized, they started out by when they came to the hospital, they had some other conditions. We didn't know that they had COVID until they were tested. So we had a few cases like that as well. And the majority of cases, when we did an analysis of the deaths, you would see that they're older people, and many of them had varying risk factors, including other diseases. So this has been a challenge, but we continue to work in trying to care for our extremely sick patients. And we are hopeful that with some of the new things that we are putting in, such as providing treatment with remdesivir, that perhaps we'll see a decline in some of these deaths.
The COVID-19 intensive care unit is to be expanded now that the country has received additional ventilators. The health minister told reporters this afternoon that more will now be done for critically ill COVID-19 patients.
We have more ventilators that are available, and in this sense, those that need a ventilator would be able to get a ventilator. Now, we have also seen that over the last couple of weeks, the guidance regarding the use of ventilators have changed in a number of the hospitals in the more developed setting. They're changing those guidance, including whether to intubate or not to intubate. So there's a debate in the clinical and medical community about how much to use, what is the concentration of oxygen to use, and the flow, and a whole set of other technical parameters. But I can assure you that the doctors at the hospital are keeping up to date with all of the varying treatment protocols that are available globally, and they have been having discussions with counterparts in some of these hospitals.
And Dr. Anthony also revealed today that efforts are continuing to reduce the large backlog of tests to be completed. He said the Ministry of Health is awaiting the results from more than 500 samples that were sent earlier this week to Trinidad for testing. And once those samples return, another 500 samples will be sent. There are close to 1,000 samples currently in the backlog. More news coming up in a moment.
Falls, the official distributors of Castrol Marine, Mining and Power Gen lubricants in Guyana, now has in stock CRB engine oils, high-spin hydraulic oil, Vecton semi-synthetic truck oils, and Sultex cylinder oils. For the best prices, check our dealers countrywide or visit Falls gas station at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, or call the commercial manager on 608-4998. Castrol, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
For all the Zoom hashouts and recipe tryouts, the world changed, and we were right there, standing with you, always near, getting closer in so many ways, laughing together as we face these days. And because we are Caribbean, we've got a special insight that tells us there's no need to worry, world. We'll be all right.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
New to online learning? You're probably wondering what it's like. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software with the help of our experienced tutors. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how tech can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Welcome back. The Office of the Leader of the Opposition has written to the Acting Police Commissioner Nigel Hoppy requesting an urgent meeting on matters of concern. The meeting is expected to take place as early as Monday. During a press conference today, AFC leader and former Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramjatan expressed concern once again with the way the police force has been treating persons being held for questioning in relation to allegations of fraud at the 2020 elections.
The treatment meted out to Mr. Mingo, Enrique Livon, Michelle Miller, Carolyn Duncan, Duarte Hetzberger, and a few others are especially sordid. Held for unduly long hours for alleged offenses which are all bailable, held without there being the presence of their attorneys of law, and in very oppressive circumstances, are a retrograde step away from the professionalism which was inputted during the last administration. This kind of conduct, or misconduct preferably, will only anger the public and cause a severe deterioration of community-police relations, which we had striven hard for to realize. The AFC demands that these police excesses be halted forthwith.
Mr. Ramjatan said it appears as though the police force is now throwing away all of the training that it has received over the past few years.
It is quite evident that members within the new leadership of the CID in the Guyana Police Force have made a complete somersault on well-known best practices and legal positions concerning arrest and detention of members of the public, especially members out of GCOM. This is against the grain of what was spelt out to them by the several training courses they opted for and for which were provided by the coalition government through the auspices of the British, the Canadians, the US, and CARICOM.
The Guyana Police Force has come under some criticism for the way it has been handling the investigation, especially with the detention for several days of a number of GCOM employees. In one case, one GCOM employee explained that while she was being questioned, the police investigator received a phone call from a government minister who wanted to speak with her. She said the minister told her that she was not a real target and that she should cooperate with the investigators. She also complained of being threatened by the crime chief that if she did not cooperate and tell the investigators what they wanted to know, they would take her before the courts on fraud charges. Issues like those are among the concerns the opposition team intends to raise when it meets with the police chief. 6 former regional executive officers who were all fired just after the new government took office have filed action in the High Court, claiming unfair dismissal on discriminatory grounds. Attorney-at-law Darren Wade has filed the applications. Applications have been filed on behalf of Randolph Storm, Dennis Chankaran, Jennifer Ferreira-Dugal, Owen Morrison, Kim Williams-Stephen, and Orrin Gordon. The former Region 9 executive officer is also expected to file a similar application. The former REOs are contending that their dismissal by the Ministry of Local Government was prejudicial and discriminatory, and also violated their constitutional rights to freedom of political association as a citizen. The PP civic government has been accused of witch hunting as it went on a firing spree just after it got into office, dismissing high-level and low-level employees that it saw as political appointees. Some persons who were not known to be affiliated to any political party but landed their jobs during the last government also found themselves in the firing line of the PPP. As the government seeks to boost the capacity of the Guyana Power and Light Company, it was announced today that 30 businesses have expressed an interest to supply GPL with up to 30 megawatts of electricity to add to its national grid. The deadline for the expression of interest was today. According to the government's Department of Public Information, Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, has indicated that the decision to have private companies that generate their own power add to the GPL grid is to ensure that there is an adequate reserve that could meet the demand. One of the companies has since indicated that it is currently ready to supply up to 5 megawatts of power to the GPL system. It is unclear when the process will begin. Let's tell you now that the government has started the appointment of members to a number of state boards, and while it has reached out to the small parties for nominees to the boards, it has completely blanked the APNU-AFC, which has 31 of the 32 opposition seats in the National Assembly. Last week, the Minister of Governance, Gail Teixeira, wrote to a number of the small parties requesting nominees from them to serve on state boards. The small parties all responded, and at least 3 small party leaders have found themselves on the boards of Guy Oil, GWI, and GPL. APNU-AFC members of Parliament Kemraj Ramjatan and David Patterson both confirmed that there was no such request from the main opposition. Mr. Ramjatan said while he is pleased that some of the small parties are being accommodated on the state boards, it was expected that the main opposition party would have also been invited. Former Minister David Patterson reminded that during the APNU-AFC government, the PPP was invited to serve on a number of state boards, but it only took up one of those invitations. Across the region is coming up next. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
New to online learning? You're probably wondering what it's like. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software with the help of our experienced tutors. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how tech can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
Falls, the official distributors of Castrol Marine, Mining and Power Gen Lubricants in Guyana, now has in stock CRB engine oils, high-spin hydraulic oil, Vecton semi-synthetic truck oils, and Sultex cylinder oils. For the best prices, check our dealers countrywide or visit Falls Gas Station at Land of Canaan, East Bank, Demerara, or call the commercial manager on 608-4998. Castrol, it's more than just oil, it's liquid engineering.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right, walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong, be the one to live right.
Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, Jamaica's ruling party has been re-elected with a landslide victory. The centre-right Jamaica Labour Party won 49 of 63 seats in Thursday's parliamentary election. Prime Minister Andrew Holness called for the early vote last month in what analysts saw as a bid to capitalize on people's satisfaction with his economic agenda and early response to the coronavirus. But he has faced criticism amid a surge in coronavirus cases as restrictions are lifted. Face masks and temperature checks were compulsory at polling stations. The campaign was dominated by discussions over the economy, how to fight crime, and the coronavirus pandemic. The result was one of the largest margins of victory in decades, but also one of the lowest voter turnouts at 37%. In the 2016 elections, turnout was over 48%. In St. Vincent, the leader of the opposition there, New Democratic Party, Dr. Godwin Friday, is calling on Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves to name the date for the next general election, which is due by March of next year, but widely expected to take place this year. The opposition leader said St. Vincent and the Grenadines deserve better, and it is time for change. He also noted that after 20 long unsuccessful years of the ULP government, the country cannot afford 5 more years of that party's broken promises and neglect. He also noted that the choice is more broken promises, complacency, and self-interest from the governing party, or a new beginning from his party. He has urged his party supporters during a virtual meeting to choose hope for their families as they could get ready for an early vote. And finally, at this time, international news. Iran now has more than 10 times the amount of enriched uranium permitted under an international agreement, the UN's nuclear watchdog says. The International Atomic Energy Agency said Iran's enriched uranium stockpile had reached 2,105 kilograms, well above the 300 kilograms agreed in 2015. Iran insists its nuclear program is exclusively for peaceful purposes. It comes after Iran gave the international agency inspectors access to one of 2 suspected former nuclear sites. The agency said it would take samples at a second site later this month. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight and this week. I'm Gordon Mosley. Be safe.